This is Algebra 2, reviewing for the Semester 2 final, starting off with Unit 7, quadratic functions. First, we will solve by factoring. So here we have a quadratic function. The quadratic function is 15x squared plus 19x plus 6 equals 0. It's already equal to 0, so we can just start factoring it. Split it up into its two different parentheses, and then you need to figure out what the first terms could be. Our first terms have to multiply to give us 15. So our options for 15 are 1 times 15 and 3 times 5. Most likely, 3 times 5 is going to be correct, so I'm going to fill that in with 3x and 5x. Our last terms have to be 6. Factors are 6, are 1 and 6 and 2 and 3. Once again, we want to think about most likely. Most likely here would probably be 2 and 3. So I'm going to fill in 2 and 3. We know they both have to be positive because they multiply to give us a positive number, and they would add together to give us a positive number. And now we check. Our outside is 9x. Our inside is 10x. 9x plus 10x gives us the 19x, which was our middle term, so we did this correctly. So here we're factored, so now we make both equal to 0. 3x plus 2 is equal to 0. So 3x is negative 2, so x is negative 2/3. The other one, 5x plus 3 is equal to 0. So 5x is equal to negative 3, so x is negative 3/5. So your two solutions here would be negative 2/3 and negative 3/5. So there we solved by factoring. Next way we solved in Unit 7 is by completing the square. So let's say we have the function x squared minus 10x minus 11 is equal to 0. Once again, this is already equal to 0, so we're set. Since we want to complete the square, we just want our x squared and our x term on one side of the equation. So we're going to leave x squared minus 10x alone, leave a blank spot, and add the 11 over to the other side. Now we have to complete the square. So we take our middle term. We first divide our middle term by 2 to get 5, and then we take our 5 and square it to get 25. So we would add 25 onto both sides. By adding 25 onto both sides, x squared minus 10x plus 25 factors down to x minus 5 times x minus 5, otherwise written as x minus 5 squared. This is then equal to 11 plus 25 is 36. Here we have a value squared, so to get rid of a square, we can take the square root of it, which then leaves us with x minus 5 is equal to plus or minus the square root of 36 is 6. To get our x alone, we now would need to add 5. So we have to take our positive 6 and add 5, which gives us 11. And we have to take our negative 6 and add 5, which gives us negative 1. So our two solutions here are negative 1 and 11. The third method that we use in quadratic functions to solve is the quadratic formula. Recall the quadratic formula, x equals negative b plus or minus the square root b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. In order to solve using the quadratic formula, we first have to get this equal to 0, so we would subtract the 2 over. So 3x squared plus 5x minus 2 is equal to 0. Some of you may find it beneficial to write down your a, b, and c terms. So here your a is 3, your b is 5, and your c is negative 2. And you plug this into your formula. So negative b is negative 5 plus or minus the square root of b squared, so 5 squared minus 4 times our a is 3 and our c is negative 2, all over 2 times our a is 3. First, when we're doing this, you just want to simplify down your discriminant. Your discriminant, recall, is the value. Your discriminant is the value inside of the square root. So we're going to simplify that down. So 5 squared is 25 minus 4 times 3 is 12, times negative 2 is a negative 24, so that changes to a plus 24, all over, and then 2 times 3 we can simplify as 6. Continuing to simplify the discriminant down, we have negative 5 plus or minus 25 plus 24 is 49, all over 6. This example happens to work out nicely for us because we know the square root of 49 is 7 and all over 6. Side note before we finish solving it, this value of 49 would be known as our discriminant value. That would tell us if we have positive answers, imaginary answers, or just one answer. Here we have a real number that works, so this will give us 2 distinct answers or 2 real rational answers. So now we need to simplify, so we have negative 5 plus 7 over 6, and negative 5 minus 7 over 6. Negative 5 plus 7 is a positive 2 over 6, which simplifies down to a third. Negative 5 minus 7 is negative 12 over 6, which simplifies down to negative 2. So our 2 solutions here are negative 2 and positive 1/3. So that concludes quadratic functions solving using factoring, completing the square, or the quadratic formula.